Broadcasting from the KTWU studios, it's A Christmas Carol, a radio dramatization you can see, written by Philip Grecian, based on the novel by Charles Dickens. Now fill your cup with hot buttered rum, call the family together, and move in close to the warm glow of your radio dial to hear A Christmas Carol, the story of Ebenezer Scrooge. Hear that? A kind of music that comes around once a year. Always makes me feel good. A Christmas song. Well, more than that, a Christmas carol. A part of Christmas, and a part of you, for as long as you can remember, like an old, old friend.
Well, that's one kind of Christmas carol, but we're here to present another kind, one written by Charles Dickens in 1843. It takes place in London, England, and it's the story of mean old Ebenezer Scrooge. Shall we tell a story then? Okay, where do we begin? Okay. Well, Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. Old Marley was dead as a doornail.
A doornail?
Odd, isn't it? But that's what Mr. Dickens said, as dead as a doornail.
I don't know what's particularly dead about a doornail, but that is what Marley was as dead as. And Marley was dead, therefore...
A doornail.
A doornail.
But a doornail's not dead in the first place.
Neither was Marley, in the first place.
Oh.
But finally, in the second place, he was. Now, you must understand that Marley was quite dead, or else nothing wonderful can come from the story we're about to tell.
I think we all understand that, but tell us about Scrooge.
Shush now, I'm getting to Scrooge. Scrooge and Marley had been partners in business before Marley died, and they called the business establishment...
Scrooge and Marley.
Yes, strangely enough, yes. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name on the sign. There it stood for years. Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people called Scrooge Scrooge. Sometimes Marley. He answered to both. It was all the same to him. The only change over the years was that he'd had Marley's desk moved out because...
Marley was dead.
Quite.
As a doornail.
Yes. They had been partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was Marley's only friend.
And Marley was Scrooge's only friend.
Yeah, because no one else could tolerate either one of them. Between the two, there wasn't an ounce of heart, not a tuppence of compassion. Why, when Marley died, Scrooge didn't even close the shop. Do you know why?
He said it'd be bad for business.
Exactly.
But tell us about Scrooge.
Oh, he was a tight-fisted old skinflint. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. Hard and sharp as flint. His heart was colder than a snowman.
Well, that is cold.
Yes, it is. He carried the cold within him always. It made his hair the color of snow after the wagons had passed. It froze his old features, nipped his nose, shriveled his cheeks, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his lips thin and cruel and blue and frostbitten. And it spoke out through him in his cold, icy, grating voice. And he never thawed even 1 degree, not even at Christmas. Christmas? Come on! Now tell the story and be quick about it.
Once upon a time...
Oh. Does everything always have to start with once upon a time?
Well, okay. How about whether I shall turn out to be the hero of my own life?
It's a downer.
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
No!
Well, then, you shall have to be satisfied with once upon a time. That's what Mr. Dickens wrote, and I don't think we should tamper.
Wow.
So, once upon a time, on Christmas Eve, Scrooge sat busy in his counting house.
The old grandfather's clock in Scrooge's office struck 3. Scrooge's clerk, Bob Cratchit, sat at his desk copying letters. He wore a long white scarf to keep out the bitter cold, for Scrooge was too stingy to keep a warm fire blazing at the hearth.
And on this particular Christmas Eve, Scrooge had a visitor. It was his nephew Fred, who entered the establishment all in a glow, his eyes sparkling and the spirit of Christmas radiating from his windburned face. A Merry Christmas, Uncle!
Humbug!
Christmas a humbug, Uncle? You don't mean that!
I do mean it. What reason have you to be so matty? You're poor enough.
What reason do you be so angry? You're rich enough.
Humbug!
Don't be cross, Uncle.
What is Christmas but a time for paying bills without money? For finding yourself a year older and not an hour richer? Every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled in his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. Oh, that's good, stake of holly.